Doctor, can you just move closer to your microphone? There's a bit of echo.
There is a bit of an echo.
Closer to the microphone.
Is it better now?
Yeah, I think that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
That's better. I'm Dr. Mpamizo Emmanuel, as someone has just described it. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm a lecturer, Guru University. I teach mental health. Today, I want to talk about, what's going on. This COVID outbreak, it's creating a lot of anxiety. We're going to begin from anxiety and all that. So first of all, I would like to appreciate this opportunity. It's not every day that I get an opportunity to speak, such as yourselves, distinguished gentlemen and ladies. I appreciate that opportunity. Yeah, going straight to the point, there's going on about corona. A lot out there on our phones, on our televisions, on the internet, everything is about corona. Many of the things that we see are frightening. So they are telling us people are dropping in the streets. They keep, which seem to be increasing every day. Today it's 2,000, tomorrow it's 3, tomorrow it's 4. As if that is not bad enough, there are these things that are also coming up, conspiracy theories. They're telling us that it was generated in a lab by someone, and then, things like that, and the purpose is to extinguish the black race, those things which really cannot be proven, and anyone can come up with such a theory. There are, of course, those others which are in their own category. People telling us that they are magical cures, that if you take, I don't know, if you smash garlic and put in ginger and you take it when you're upside down, then it means you're going to be cured. So there is a lot going on about corona out there. This whole information that we're getting has brought about anxiety, of course, because, seeing people dying and, you're so susceptible to leave you with a peaceful heart. Anxiety, generally, if someone is to define, we would say that anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, uneasiness, apprehension that usually comes about when you're faced with an event whose outcome you're not sure of. So things like, when you're going for an exam, you worry because you don't know the outcome. You don't know whether you will pass or fail. When you're going for an interview, it's the same thing. When you're entering a plane for the first time, you're worried because you don't know what is going to happen. That's why the anxiety comes about. And generally it comes up because we examine ourselves, we feel and we see that the skills, the knowledge, our capabilities may not be enough to deal with the challenges that we are faced with. If you've fried an egg before, you have the knowledge of frying an egg, you have the skills and experience, that does not cause you anxiety. But if someone has offered you, an egg over next, which is something you have not cooked before, it is larger, so there you may be anxious, and it would be expected. Anxiety has a purpose, so we don't have anxiety for no reason. It has a purpose. It's because of anxiety that, for those of you who believe in evolution, it's because of anxiety that we exist. If we're not anxious, our ancestors would have been eaten up by lions and cheetahs. You would see the lion and the cheetah and you wouldn't run, you'd stay there not feeling anxious, and the thing would finish you. Because of anxiety, we read books, we plan, we prepare for the future, we take our kids to the hospital when they are sick. If there is no anxiety, you wouldn't be able to do that. So anxiety has a purpose. And unfortunately, sometimes when the anxiety especially is too much, it can cause problems. The most important problem being panic, because you're too worried, don't know what to do next, you end up panicking. And in a state of panic, you do things that are not beneficial, things that will not help anyone and are not helping you, things that are what they like to refer to as irrational. So you end up performing irrational acts. To deal with this anxiety, let us talk a little bit about what are the signs of anxiety. How do you know, how you, the listener, the watcher, how do you know that what we are dealing with is anxiety and not something else? Because you may be anxious and you're not aware that you're anxious. There are many signs. I'm going to mention a list of about 10 signs. There are more than that, but these simple ones, the 10 are the easy ones that we can go with. The first one is, of course, restlessness. You have difficulty settling. Imagine you're at home, they have told you not to go to work, but 1 minute in the sitting room, the next you're in the kitchen, the other you're outside, you come back to the sitting room, to the bedroom. There we describe you as being restless. You're not able to settle in one place. You keep moving from one place to another. The other is poor sleep. You're not sleeping well at night, or you're sleeping too much. Sometimes we miss the issue of sleeping too much, but it's either you're having poor sleep, or you're sleeping too much. And even when you sleep, I had a client the other day who was telling me that they have started to experience dreams, frightening dreams. They are seeing, I think there is a frightening video which went about of showing people dropping dead. I don't know if this was from a movie or something, but they keep imagining things like that in their dreams. So poor sleep, nightmares, and it can also happen in children. The child wakes up and the child is just screaming. They may not exactly tell you that we have been dreaming about corona or COVID, but if the child hasn't been having nightmares in the past and all of a sudden they have started to have nightmares, then it is something that you should be worried about. The other one is increased or reduced appetite. So your appetite has increased, it has gone up all of a sudden, or it has suddenly reduced. That makes you suggest things. The other is hypersensitivity. Hypervigilance or hypersensitivity is, when you easily get startled. In this context, we have always been having cough and flu. Cough and flu it's endemic. It's something which is there all the time. So all of a sudden, because you've heard about corona, how is this hypervigilance going to act about? You feel your nose itching a little bit. You're like, now this must be the coronavirus penetrating my nose. You get a small flu, which you've always been getting flu in the past, even before corona came about, and all of a sudden you're worried. You're like, isn't this corona which is affecting me? You begin to cough a bit, or you take a glass of juice and it goes down the wrong pipe, you cough, you're like, now this is corona. So that is what we mean when we say hypervigilance. Anything small, you're so up, you're so sensitive to it. You know what is going on. What is this? What is this? The other, this one is an important one to note, is increased appetite. So increased appetite for alcohol, sex, and such things. So there's nothing wrong to have appetite for alcohol and sex. But if all of a sudden your appetite has increased in the last 1 or 2 months, suddenly you want to have sex every night, or you want to have, then you know that could be anxiety which is disturbing you. It is not because you're at home. It's not because you want to calm your mind. It is because you're anxious, my friend. It is what is causing those problems. That's why you're disturbing your wife or your husband a little too much. The other is flight of ideas. Flight of ideas is a bit technical, but this one refers to like you're thinking about this thing, the next minute you're thinking about the other, the next you're thinking about the other, the next you're thinking about the other. This is what we mean when we say flight of ideas. So your thoughts are flying, so to say. They are changing. 1 minute it's this, the other it is this. Now my grandmother, now land, now, jumping from one topic to another. Now, have they got the vaccine? Now, when is school going to resume? It is okay to worry about things, but all the time, mind is, you haven't yet finished digesting this, your mind has jumped to something else. Then there you know that, what you're experiencing is nothing else but anxiety. The other one, this one is, I think, among the most common symptoms, is you continuously seeking out for information. I don't know what new information is there you want to know about corona. They tell you corona has flu-like symptoms. It affects the nose. You get a chest, you get a cough, and it is affecting the whole world. But there are certain countries which are affected, which are doing badly. Why? Which other more information do you want apart from that? You find the person is Googling, you find the person is disturbing his doctor friends. Tell me about corona. You think I have corona? He's Googling, he's on YouTube, finding out how corona spreads. He's forwarding messages to his colleagues. He's in the group. Every message which comes in the group, he wants to read it. Overstimulation is a sign of anxiety. Why? What is that more that you want to know? What don't you know about corona to this extent? What is that other thing that you're dying to find out? So that is undoubtedly a sign of anxiety. We are still going on. We're about to end with the signs. The other is sad mood. So all of a sudden you notice that you're sadder than you usually are. you find that you're irritable. You know what irritability means? It's when you easily chop wires. Every day you have no problem with your wife, you have no problem with your children. All of a sudden the child maybe bangs the plate down. Hey, you child, what is going on with you? Don't you know we're in the period of corona? So irritability, something small takes off your wires. Someone calls you like, now who is this person? Why are they calling? Corona season. So irritable mode. The other is thoughts of doom. I think I just have like 2 more signs to go and then we shall talk about how to deal with it. The other is thoughts of doom. So you're thinking about doom all the time. You think about now, corona has come. These are the end times that they have talked about. What are we going to do? Where am I going to be buried? You know, how am I going to die? Is it me going to die first or my brother? So thoughts of doom, thoughts of bad things. There is nothing positive you can think about. Only bad. Doom mentality. That is the whole issue. Then the other is body signs. Of course, the body signs of anxiety, you know, them sweating, you know, too much, a running stomach. You've not been having a running stomach. You have a racing heartbeat. You feel like your heart is racing all the time. Muscle cramps, diarrhea, and the like. I just want to end with this one sign. Please pay attention. This one sign, the sign which I want to end with, the sign of anxiety, which sometimes is missed, is detachment. So you find someone who is not paying attention to the corona information at all. That is what we call detachment. Someone has cut off. He doesn't even know where corona is, how it started. In a way, it's a protective mechanism, but is one of the surest signs of, you know, of anxiety. You are detached. You don't want to know anything about corona. Continue with your life, your garden, your whatever it is you're doing. Want nothing to do with corona. So this is detachment is a very important one. Okay, now that is out of the way, we are going to go to the next part. Since we are clear with the signs of corona, the next issue is how do we deal with this corona? How do we deal with the signs and symptoms? How do we reduce ourselves? This is the topic of the talk, how to deal with, you know, with anxiety. It is the next part of the talk. So the first one, which may even be the most important, is acknowledge that what you're experiencing is actually anxiety. It is nothing else. You're not experiencing corona, you're not having the issue. The problem is you're anxious. Accept it. Once you accept it, it is easier for you to deal with. I think there is a saying, I forget it, but the saying is about, you know, if you know which animal you're going to hunt for, then you prepare your hunting tools. If it is an elephant you're going to hunt, then you know which kind of spear works for an elephant. It will not be the same spear that you'll use to hunt for these small edible rats. Maybe an edible rat you need like a net or something. An elephant you need the spear. So once acknowledge that it is anxiety that you have. It is normal to experience anxiety. That is the first step in dealing with it. The other one, point number 2, is do not overstimulate yourself with information. As I said earlier, a lot of information is coming in, you know, from the news, from the groups you are in, from our friends and colleagues, phone calls, the internet. Limit yourself. Put a cap on yourself. You can set a rule and say, for me, I am only going to listen to NTV News at 9. That is the only source of information about corona that I need. Other things, however much you send me your forwarded videos, however much whatever, I will not pay attention to that. Or you can say, for me, I'm going to listen every day to BBC at 10, maybe 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. for 1 hour, and that is all. I close my corona information day. So set guidelines, because the news is, I hope none of you here works in the media industry, but that is how they make their money. They make their money by, you know, creating a wave. They have to be heard. So even when there is no accident on the road, they will not report about that. We have been having no corona for a long time, but you have never had any news report talking about there is no corona in Uganda. The news reports are like, now we have 1 case, now we have 2 cases. So they focus so much on bringing in, can I say, negative information? Not necessarily negative information, but it's important for us to know. The point I'm trying to say is that okay, it's sensationalizing things that will grab your attention. So it is not so much for, it's not good for you to expose yourself to this news. Watch a little bit, an hour, 30 minutes, and that is it. You don't need to, to listen too much. The other one is keep yourself busy. I think we have always been hearing the saying, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Or an idle mind in this case is the coroner's workshop. So if your mind is idle, you have nothing better to think about. Praise that corona is, find yourself anxious, wondering how you're going to die, wondering whether is it going to kill you, who it's going to affect, and things like that. But if your mind is active, you're doing other things, this is a perfect time for you to read that book you had put aside. You've always been promising yourself you're going to read maybe a certain verse or a chapter of the Bible and you finish it, or a certain book, a novel. Now is the time for you to do that. You've always been saying a particular date. Why don't you watch it now that you have many of us, the non-essential workers, are now at home? There's nothing we are doing. Why don't you use that time for that? Learn an instrument, pull out, go and buy a guitar or a piano and try to learn it. 14 days or 30 days, as they announced earlier, not few. It's a long time. You can learn important skills. The good thing these days with people who have access to online, you can learn a lot. You can even say, I am going to learn public health, a module in public health in this time, or I'm going to learn how to draw in this time. Just go to online and subscribe to one of those other things. The other thing is, of course, concentrating on family and friends. This is the time for you to ask the child to bring the book and you look into their book. Some of you don't know how your children's handwritings look like. It's very good you've been busy working for them, getting them money, but you need to know how your child writes. You need to know where your money is going. Ask for them, tell them to bring their books, look into their books, have a conversation with them. Now that we have put academics on pause a little bit. Get to know your wife and things like that. Point number 4, we are coming to the end now. Point number 4 is eating healthy. Concentrate on healthy fruits. Of course, there is nothing that you don't know here. Vegetables, don't take too much of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates mean things like posho, Irish, sweet potatoes, rice, spaghetti. Those are the carbohydrates. The greens, the greens. And the good thing, they are cheap. Dodo, they are there in the market. Just for 1K, you can get a very big bundle. Eat those. Not so much of the oily, fried, heavy food. Just that simple, light food. Set aside. Weight gain is now going to come about. Many of us, as I said earlier, at home. So you need to make sure you get some time to exercise a bit. Before I go to the point of exercise, let me just talk about food a little bit. There are certain foods that we know that increase anxiety. So things like caffeine. So taking too much coffee will increase your anxiety. You find yourself not sleeping in the night. You'll find your heart racing even more. So please, let us keep away from caffeinated drinks. Let us keep away from energy drinks. So things like Sting, things like Red Bull, things like Rock Boom. I know there are other reasons why you take them. There are other reasons why you take them. Those are important reasons. But for now, let us keep away from those things because they increase anxiety. Exercise, of course. You don't need to have a sports field around you to exercise. You can simply go outside your house and go around the house. Or just rotate around your car if you like it to have a car. Say, no, every day I'm going to be moving around my car 100 times. 100 times you move around your car. That is great exercise. Instead of sitting in your house and doing nothing. You can even exercise in your house. Do a bit of push-ups and sit-ups and make it regular. The final point we are going to talk about is the issue of faith. Where does faith come in? It is important for us to have a faith base. If you do not have a faith base, you have nothing to rely on. Having a faith, I'm not saying that you suddenly become a Muslim or suddenly become a Christian or a Pentecostal. No. If you've been believing in Buddha, it is okay. Continue believing in Buddha. Now is the time that you need Buddha, because Buddha is going to tell you, keep calm. The world has always had such problems and it keeps rotating. If you humanity, now is the time for you to go into humanity. You see that, human beings are there. People are sacrificing to their food and for others to live in these Ebola times. If you believe in capitalism and things like that, still look out for that and let that motivate you. The markets have in a capitalist society, these markets are going to go up. Focus on that if that is what it is. But the most common faith systems I'm talking about here are religion. So things like Catholicism, Anglican religion, Muslim religion, Seventh-day Jehovah's, and they they give you something to fall back on. They give you something to fall back on, and they give you hope in these tough, trying times that we are going through. Yes, so those are the points. I can just go through them for you. Acknowledge that what you experience is anxiety. Do not overstimulate yourself with news. Limit yourself. Maybe an hour a day of news, and that is all. Keep yourself busy. We said an idle mind is the coroner's workshop. Eat healthy food, exercise, and then faith-based. Concentrate on your faith as well. Yes, I think I had prepared for you, but before I end the talk, I just want to mention something that, this is not the first time that the world is going through a hard time. It may not have been this, Corona is here for the first time, but there are other things that have been here. So things like SARS, things like Ebola, floods, earthquakes, even things before we were born and before our grandparents were born. We have heard of things like the Spanish flu and all those other things. The world went through them, and it is now still existing. So even us, we shall go through this corona, however serious it is. Yes, I'm taking your questions if you have some questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for that. It's real eye opener. I didn't. There are many things you've mentioned I can't